world has changed. America has changed. If something were to happen tomorrow, how self-sufficient would you be? Could you grow your own food? Could you sustain your own livestock? Could you survive? This is the We Grow Our Show with Nick and Don. Nick and Don talk about everything from politics to planting. They cover techniques, methods, and tips on how to not only survive, but thrive. Visit the website at WeGrowOurs.com. Lock and load. This is the We Grow Our Show. Get your grow on.
Welcome back to the We Grow Our Show,
where the facts are pretty much true.
That's what you said last week. I didn't like it then either. They're always true.
Did I say that last week?
You did, yeah.
Well, I'm really branching out. What can I say? I'm real creative. Worked last week. Just like this outfit worked yesterday, it works today.
Yeah, I can smell that. But
there's a radio commercial that I kind of like. It says, "Oh, is your belt still in yesterday's pants? Welp, those are today's pants." That's not a mustard stain. That's genius.
Nice. I haven't seen that. I gotta.
It's really hard to see radio commercials.
Well, yeah, I would like to.
I think it's on KUPD 93.3.
Isn't that 97.9?
No,
KUPD.
Oh, I'm sorry, KDKB.
All right.
93.
So for everybody not in Arizona, now you know what we listen to.
I believe they're on iHeartRadio. I don't know though.
Are they? I've never been to that thing. So we are locked and loaded this week with a special guest.
Loaded.
We've got a good caller today. We're going to have Lance Baker on the phone with us.
Yeah.
And he's going to talk about all the cool stuff he's doing and why he's doing it and what he's doing.
That's right. Lance and I, we go way back. By way back, I mean at least 3 years, which isn't way back, but you know, that's why I said way back, not way back. Anyway, for anybody still listening, it was funny when I met Lance, I wanted to be a part of his show. He runs Expos, and we'll talk to him a little bit more on the phone, but when I first called him, he says, "So you want to be a part of this show? Okay, what do you sell?" I said, "Well, I sell rabbits." There was this awkward silence on his end of the phone, and I could just feel him trying not to laugh and think, what the heck am I talking to?
Does that have to do with survival again?
And so that's what he said. He gets on and he's like, "Okay, how would you say that fits into survival?" Like, well, I gave him the spiel. I said, well, it's easier to grow your own food in a limited space and you have an infinite food source versus a limited food source with an expiration date. And it just makes a lot more sense to grow your own food. He said, okay, what will you be offering for sale? And I said, nothing. I'm not going to sell rabbits on a whim at an expo. I'll be offering education and then with a follow-up to buy later on.
To buy rabbits at that point.
Yeah, I was just selling rabbits.
Rabbits.
Actually, no, I had cages. I had already started monetizing the cage building.
Cool.
And so he said, okay, well, why don't we set up a meeting and come take a look at your operation? I could tell he was just not interested in having me on, but he wanted to hear it. It was just interesting enough that he's like, okay, I'll entertain the idea. So he drove out to Queen Creek, came, checked out my operation, and was somewhat floored because when you're looking at 1,600 rabbits, it's staggering.
Right.
And he's like, wow. I was like, yeah, and this is a cage system. This is what I'll be offering. This, and this. And yeah, ever since we've been pretty good friends. We call up, and talk every now and then, make sure that we're on the same page for the events coming up. But, anyway, I guess the rest is history. I've been going to his shows ever since, teaching there. And in fact, the next show that's coming up, which is the 31st of May, 1st of June, that weekend, I will be teaching at 9:30 Saturday morning.
Nice.
So I'll be doing a intro to rabbits 101-ish kind of class. And, should be good.
Yeah. And that's at Tim's Toyota Center.
That's right.
Prescott Valley.
Prescott Valley. Yep. I think the gates open at 9. Not sure though.
So you're going to be up there right away.
Oh yeah.
Good deal. Good deal.
I think this is his way of telling me I shouldn't come late. He's going to make me the first speaker Saturday morning.
Yeah, you'll still be late.
Shut up, man.
So we've got besides Lance, we've got a question. I wanted to answer a question for a couple people here that have emailed us and asked. So Brad Howard out of Nashville, Tennessee. He wants to know. Yeehaw. He wants to know how to better integrate all of his livestock. So I think I want to.
Did he make a list of what he had, or?
Yeah, he's got all sorts of stuff. Integrate aquaponics, quail, chickens, rabbits, composting, worms, and black soldier flies into a very productive but low maintenance system. So
He wants his cake and eat it too.
yeah, well, and I think Brad, we are episode 18 right now. That's this episode.
Okay.
Next week will be 19, and we will be talking all about integration. We're going to do a full episode devoted to integration, kind of what we found to be some of the easier ways and some of the harder ways, and walk through that kind of like a flow chart. So we're going to walk through that.
Radio flow chart.
Yeah, we're going to walk through that. I'll post it online so people can see it too. Episode 20 is going to be a special episode.
That's right.
We've got somebody coming in that I think is different for this community, but I think really important.
That's right. It's, the way that America is going right now, all of you people that are out there in your 9-to-5 cubicle jobs, if you've got a good idea and you think it's a viable, marketable idea, become an entrepreneur. Just make the jump, hang on to your day job, but follow your dream, and this lady is inspirational and will help you do that.
Yes.
Well, that's about as much as we're going to give on what,
she's got a book coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I think the week after she's going to be on.
Yes.
She is amazing. She's helped me. She's helped Nick.
Yep.
So we're going to have her in studio, and I think we want to share some of that knowledge. So
yes.
Yeah. So keep it. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about starting your own business, no matter what kind of business that is, tune in for episode 20. If you've got friends that aren't in the prepper industry or the survivalist or gardening or anything like that, have them come along. This is a good episode to share for other people out there that have different views too. This is going to be a very good episode for them to hear.
Very politically neutral, I imagine.
Yeah. Again, there's a few things that I think both sides need to come around, and that is food and freedom and things like that. And,
yes.
and this is really going to be out there. This is to help you guys jump out into that entrepreneur thing, start your own business, get out there, reach others, teach others, each one teach one type thing. And this can really help the community. So we would love to see your ideas too. So if you've got ideas, wegrowers.com/askus. Go ahead and send us there, wegrowers@gmail. You can email us some info on your products. If we like them, we'll certainly look at putting them up on the website. Maybe to having you on the show too. So don't be afraid to ask.
All right, next, let's talk about the plug of the week.
So what do you got this week, Nick?
All right, this week's plug of the week is Off the Grid Survival Gear in Prescott, Arizona. The guy that owns the store is also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Way cool dude. He's in IT. He's got a print shop, and he's following his passion and selling survival gear. So he has the survival gear. He's running some IT stuff there, but I think mostly he's after the survival gear right now.
But I'll tell you, I do IT as a full-time job. That's my career. You think my boss would let me sell survival gear out of our office?
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be nice. If you're listening, I'm not actually asking.
I've met his boss. He's a cool dude.
Yeah. Well, he lets us use the situation room every week
to
do this podcast. So.
That's right. But yeah, okay. So Off the Grid Survival Gear, they do classes up there. In fact, on June 21st, I will be teaching a class on rabbits. We'll be doing rabbits 101/advanced rabbits. And we'll be doing a butchering class.
All up there on that day? What's that run?
It's 15 for the class, the 101 class, and 50 for the processing class. That comes with the rabbit. So you will go home, dressed carcass in hand. You can cook it when you get home, not there at the store. Or you could at the store too, whatever. Bring it home.
Last time I was up there, they had a stove set up and we're cooking rabbits too.
That's right. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that or not. I think Lee wants to do that. But we might have a little bit of a potluck deal going.
Very cool. Very cool.
So
yeah, I've actually had the opportunity to meet Lee. I went up and helped you with a processing class.
That's right. I forget you were up there too.
Yeah. So the store is great. He's got a lot of neat products and seemed like a really nice guy. We got talking about aquaponics and kind of on that whole thing. So he's doing good things for the community up there. So that's why he's doing the plug of the week this week.
That's right. So
yeah.
Lee, if you're listening, consider yourself plugged.
And if you're not, you should be.
Exactly.
All right. So, I think we got Lance. So let's get him on.
Well, with us this week, we've got Lance Baker. How you doing, Lance?
Good. Glad to be here with you guys.
Well, glad to have you. Now, Lance and I, we've been friends now for a couple of years, right?
I think, you were one of our first vendors at our first expo, and you've literally been a vendor at every one we've done, all 6 of them. And you're going to be a vendor at our 7th one coming up.
That's right. I can't believe you've done 6 now. Wow. It's been 2 a year since you started, right?
Right.
That makes sense. No, I was, earlier telling the listeners a little bit about how we met in that first time when you came out and saw all the rabbits.
We didn't know what we would be getting ourselves into with you. And when we went out there, we were like, okay, this guy looks a little shady. But once we got to know you, then we were like, all right, this guy means business. So, and from there, and I think we even helped you with some of our advice to help you grow Hostel.
Yep, that's, So
we got to admit it's been a win-win for both you and I.
It's been a good relationship. So,
Yep. So
let's give the folks a little bit of a background. You've been doing expos, but not always, survival expos. Am I right?
Well, I mean, I used to do car shows in Arizona. In 2008, when I started seeing the economy turn the way it did, I realized you better get rid of that ancillary stuff that you don't need. So I sold out a couple of 69 Camaros. Been in those for 35 years. I did Camaros and, had enough. You know, my back was finally just broke from doing all of them. Of course, my wallet was too.
Yeah.
So I sold them out, paid off some debt, got some equipment, started investing heavily in firearms as anybody that's smart would have. And, the rest is history. And then I started looking at, my buddies were all saying, hey, what if we needed gear? Where would we get it? And I put 2 and 2 together and said, I ran some awesome car shows. I could run an expo with no problem.
Nice.
And, our first expo was insane. So, to say the least.
Yeah, it was the first thing that anybody had ever really seen in the Phoenix Valley.
Right. We had 58 vendors. We were, and it was held at the Commemorative Air Force Museum. And within that, I think we did about a 7-hour period. We had about 1,500 people come through the doors, and it was so crowded you couldn't even move.
Yeah, I remember that, man. It was crazy. Just a constant throng of people.
Yep. And from there, it was history. I mean, we just continued to grow. We see a lot of the same people at our expos every time. We gained a lot of friends. Our vendor list is now up to about 170 vendors from around Arizona and now the United States.
Sweet.
Although they all do not attend every expo, mind you. But we have a great number of friends and vendors.
Oh, that's a good well to pull from, that's for sure.
Yep.
So what was, I mean, you saw the way the world was shifting. That's kind of a broad subject, but what was the key point when you said, you know what, I need to sell these cars and buy some guns? Was it an individual event or was it a building?
Well, what got me started into prepping was just, like I say, seeing the economy go in the direction that it did. I've always been one to say we need to, have a little extra of everything. And when I started buying a little extra of ammo, then I started realizing, well, if something worse happens, we better have some food and all this other stuff. And not to mention, I mean, I, like everybody else, was trying to form a cell of friends and stuff that in case something did happen, we would all rally together. But then we started realizing we don't have any equipment, food, etc. So common logic would be you better get some stuff saved up.
That's true.
So, and from there came training. From there came doing everything else that one needs to do. And I think a lot of people neglect a lot of the training. They got stuff stacked in their pantries and in their kitchens and in their bedrooms, they don't know how to use a bit of it.
Now, in the past, you've had just one spot or two spots that you're going to have speakers, but now you're going through 3 bases. Am I correct in that, this next expo?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a challenge. There lies some problems when you're doing these expos. When you set up too many speaker areas, somebody is going to get left out, or somebody's going to miss something they really wanted to hear. So with Prescott, we have introduced 3, but primarily because of the fact that we are doing a freedom rally up there. So there's going to be some focus on the Constitution and Second Amendment type elements of the speakers. Not all, but a few, mind you. But I would much rather taper it back down to 2 and have some very focused speakers that really draw in a good-sized crowd. Therefore, it's a win for the speakers, and it's a win for the folks in attendance.
I agree. That's pretty good. So how many classes altogether will you be having up there?
I believe that we will be running 18 per day, and then we're going to flip-flop the vendors. So if you spoke early on Saturday, which is kind of the prime day, you speak later on Sunday. And that way it gives some of those other folks a chance to speak a little earlier. And I even know in your case, Nick, with Hostile Hair, we talked about even setting up a speaking area right in your booth vicinity. So you could literally have mini classes right there throughout the expo.
Oh man, see that, now you're just catering to my fatness. I don't have to go anywhere. I love it.
Well, I would rather see some of my key speakers actually. I wished I had the room to do that for all of them.
Yeah.
Just so folks could sit in whenever they wanted and nobody would miss anything.
Well, Lance, I know I'm looking forward to going up and helping Nick out. And I got to tell you, I'm going to be going around trying to get all these speakers' business cards to have them on the podcast, because I've been to your expos and you've got some really good speakers up there. So we're excited to go. I'm going to go and hang out in the classes most of the time and see what I can learn, and then help Nick every once in a while when he needs to go use the bathroom. I'll fill in. But he keeps getting me stuck in that booth with him. So this time I'm going to go listen to some classes. So really looking forward to that.
Well, you brought up the type of speakers and the quality. I really focus on trying to bring in Arizona-based speakers. Now, I've got a few that are coming in from maybe another state here or there. We've got Jack Kilkenny that's writing a book called Marauders, and the premise of the book is folks that these marauder types that are actually robbing people of their goods and supplies. So these are guys going after the preppers. And the premise of his book is to, folks, wake up, get some training, because these are the guys you're going to be dealing with. And it's a fictional-based book. Now, he's one of the few out-of-staters that I'm bringing in. But, we're bringing in Sheriff Masher, which is the Yavapai sheriff up there, Yavapai County. And he's a great crowd draw, and he's going to speak on the Second Amendment. What more can you ask? The sheriff that speaks on the Second Amendment and is an advocate of it staunchly.
Well, that's their job, Lance. They should all be out there doing that.
Well, yeah, he's one of the few that understands that. So, and there are others. I mean, Arizona is packed with them. We got to admit, we got a great group of sheriffs in Arizona. So, and some of our other speakers, like I say, I really want to tout local, homegrown Arizona speakers, because these are the folks in our backyards. They do well, we do well.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a high quality list of speakers up there. I'm wishing that I was an attendee instead of a vendor, but then again, I'm glad I'm a vendor because I know I'm going to do well.
Like I say, some of our vendors, or speakers, mind you, I think are some of the cream of the crop. And you know what? We have a specific instruction for them. Even though you're representing a product, this is not an opportunity for it to be a hard sell. You need to be an educator. And granted, maybe a few minutes, okay, so you deviate into your product that you're carrying. But irrespective, everyone has fully acknowledged that and said that they concur. These speaking sessions need to be informative and educative.
Yeah, that's what the people are paying for. Even they paid some to go through the door, which, by the way, what is the cost at the door?
$10 for adults, and then children 12 and under are free. And, a lot of people think that, do I have to pay extra for the speakers? Absolutely not. They are there for that purpose, to educate you.
That's a heck of a deal because I know I charge $15 for my Rabbits 101 class, and I'll be giving most of that information away there.
Right.
So that's a good deal. And then not only me, but you're going to be able to have access to all the other speakers.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, there's some great guys coming in, great guys and gals. In fact, I will tell you, just to talk a little bit about it, this is really turning into a great event for ladies. We have several vendors. I call it Ladies Central because I've got so many women lined up in one side as vendors. There's so many unique products that they're now carrying that are catering to the ladies in this regards. And plus, I'm bringing in Kat Thomas from Independence Training, who is an excellent firearms and or personal protection trainer, as well as Sheila Moffitt, from, Payson and Extreme Defense USA.
Is that the class that's the ladies only class?
No. Anybody can take it.
Okay.
Sheila, for instance, is going to line her husband, who is Brian Moffitt, who teaches Krav Maga. She's going to actually put him in the padded suit and beat the crap out of him.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
My wife will love that because she's been taking some Krav Maga classes, and she's getting into this whole thing. So I know she's going to want to go up and see that.
Now,
yep. Brian's going to volunteer to be killed, so you know who that is.
Here's a shout out to Angie, fiery redhead that knows Krav Maga. What were you thinking, Dawn?
Well, her best friend got her into it, so that's a thank you to Tina on that one. So, hey, yeah, I'm screwed.
You better be walking on eggshells, son.
So, Lance, you've been doing this now for a couple of years. I gotta imagine that you have met some amazing people out there doing this. And in all of your travels and you're talking to people, what are some of the things that you found fascinating, not only about the vendors, but about the industry and what's happening and kind of where we're moving? What's your thoughts on all that?
It's an interesting concept. Now, as you will know, I mean, there's different mindsets of this whole premise. I mean, survivalism versus prepping. One thing I do notice is the disparity between those that tout survivalism and then those that say prepping. I think we try to be too politically correct in our terms, and the self-reliant term has kind of came on board. But what I really emphasize with people is I don't see enough of is personal protection and self-defense, namely in getting the amount of firearms training. And I know that doesn't really go to the heart of the question that you've asked, but that is something that I really see that I wish there was more of. Now, what I'm actually seeing is the sheer quality of people involved in this. When I say from the vendors to the attendees, I mean, we've had very rare exception where we've had problems with any individual or person. It is just a classy group of people. And from all diversities, from all walks of life, and everybody is just really pleasant to deal with and committed and concerned about this country.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've noticed attending and also being a vendor at the Expos is that I see a lot more, I don't know how to say this and be politically correct, but left and right coming together over, I'm an aquaponics guy, so over aquaponics and over raising their own food and these types of things, as well as self-defense and finding a common ground that they're not arguing politics, but rather how to, prepare if something happens. And I think all of us out there know that it's a very distinct possibility, no matter what your political background, that something may happen.
Correct. You're exactly right. And I can allude to that. I was at a GMO, non-GMO, foods event, and a young lady walks up, not a young lady, actually an older lady walks up to me in her, rather hippie-ish attire and whatnot. And I'm thinking, oh boy, here we come, one of these occupiers. She comes up to me and says, so you're involved in this prepping and this survival stuff? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, what kind of a gun do you think I should get? And, I was floored because I was prejudging her on everything I thought, the way she dressed and everything else. But in reality, she was concerned about protection. Right. And what kind of a gun? I mean, here would be a person I viewed as an anti-gunner, but irrespective, she wanted to know what firearm to get. Now, you're right. It is joining everyone together and saying, if this country collapses, we're all in this together.
That's right.
Yeah, and I see, in doing what we do, especially with permaculture kind of related stuff and that whole food movement, the Occupy people, the preppers, the survivalists, everybody's coming together to center around like non-GMO. I mean, we've got the March Against Monsanto coming up on the 24th, national thing. And I think that these groups are going out there, and we're seeing mass action of the people coming together to do something good together. And that's what I'm really excited about. They keep trying to divide everybody, and I don't think we're all that far apart.
Right. You are exactly right. And kudos to some of the vendors as well, to go back to your question about what have we seen that's new and unique. They're all actually devising and bringing in products that are helping all of these people, and they're providing what the people want: aquaponics, hydroponics, the tactical gear that folks are looking for. My premise as well is I try to keep my space, costs for the vendors as low as I can. Thus, they can pass on the savings to the attendees.
It's a good plan.
Now, I know we were talking earlier in the intro before you came on here about our next guest on our episode 20. We're going to have a special guest around entrepreneurs. So where have you seen a lot of growth in entrepreneurship and people starting their own business in this movement?
I can literally attest to this, that when we first started this movement or these expos in Arizona, we had 3 vendors. And we were pretty much throwing in the towel, and all of a sudden a few calls started being made. Everybody rallied around it. We have probably saved many small businesses in Arizona.
Nice.
I say we because we collectively, Nick will even admit his business has taken off because of these expos.
Shoot, I've got a national image now because of these expos.
Well, bingo. I mean, here we had, if we can say Nat Geo's Doomsday Preppers came and actually filmed at our August 2013 event at Prescott Valley. It has since launched several of our vendors to a national and international level.
Yep. It's definitely, it's opening the eyes of the nation to the small timers in Arizona.
Yeah. And being that you're from Arizona and we are, we've got listeners across the country. You're out there helping Arizona and local businesses, which is really important because we're always saying, hey, go buy local, go look at this. This is a great way to find your local vendors. Hey, Lance, have you considered going in other cities or being involved in other expos out there? Because you put on a really good one.
Well, if I lose my job, yes. If I lose my day job, there's a possibility. The logistics of putting on a quality event is very, very hard. I mean, I travel up to Prescott Valley, which is an hour and a half out of the valley, quite a bit. And that's a lot of travel. But I have to be up there. I have to market it. I have to be in the area. I have to know the community. To do that from here to Portland or here to I've had calls from all around the country to bring something like that to them. Now, there are others that are doing the same. I don't know how well. I've heard pros. I've heard cons. So, but it's a lot of work. For now, if I can just keep the Arizona market under control, we'll do well. I mean, the vendors are already asking me, where is your next expo going to be? And we haven't even had one coming up.
Yeah. So I guess, this is a good time to ask. After this one, where's the next one going to be, Lance?
Well, we've gotten some calls from Tucson. Is starting to heat up. Folks down in that area have been calling from the Sierra Vista area and beyond. As you well know, there's a lot of ranchers and stuff along the border. So Nick knows our last Tucson event was okay. We didn't have enough money to market it. Now our pockets are a little bit deeper and we can probably do some good marketing.
Hey, I still have people calling me probably once every 4 months. People will call me from Tucson that heard about me at that expo. So I'm not complaining. I did well. I continue to do well from that.
I'll tell you, Tucson, we only had 550 people show up. That doesn't sound like a lot, but the vendors said that those folks were dropping more money on equipment, supplies, and gear than our previous expo here in Mesa, where 1,500 showed up. Now, that's interesting, but that's also indicative of the fact they don't have a lot of supply down there, and they need what we offer.
There you go. I'd say Tucson looks pretty ripe for the picking.
Yep. Yeah, so we venture to say once we get our bearings, get this other one out of the way, we'll be headed down there.
Well, and Lance, I don't know if you are aware, but we do a yearly farmstead conference for the We Grow Ours, puts on a conference, and we center it around education. I'm having thoughts now. I don't know if you're busy, but we could certainly use some help with that. So,
hey, I'm all about co-sponsorship with that. When I roll into Prescott, I go in and ask the local vendors, do you want to be a sponsor? Any local business in that area that is related to this, I grab them and tag them as sponsors of these events. What does it do? It effectively endears me to the community, and it helps grow their businesses. Yeah. So inevitably, they help me market this. That's their job as part of the sponsor. It's a win-win. So whatever you guys got on the docket, I'm always open to stuff like that.
Well, and part of what we do with this yearly conference is it's an intensive conference where you come into these classes, but we really piggyback off of the local events like yours, where, right. For example, Nick is teaching a Rabbits 101 class. That gives the people an education, gets them interested. They're going in and researching a little bit more in depth. And then from that point is where we're trying to pick up the people and say, hey, come over to our conference and get into this advanced stuff where we talk about livestock integration and we tie everything together and how you can grow your own food. And that's our main focus there. But if it wasn't for Absolutely. Vendors like shows like yours, I don't think we could have had our first one. I don't think it would have been as successful as it was. So, we're piggybacking on what you guys are doing in the local industry. So, we really like these.
That's right.
Well, go back to what you're saying on training. My website, I did set up a training section in there, and I open this up to anybody that's affiliated with us or offering this service to send me their schedules of training, and I will post it on my website. That page gets a hit every time somebody gets onto my website. Nice. They go in, they check the flyers, and then they bump into training. It is inevitable. It's at least 98% hits on that specific page for training.
Yeah, well, then that's what we think is you've got to have the knowledge. Otherwise, because a lot of people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Very well said,
yeah.
Don.
Yeah. So, well, Lance, Nick, you have any other questions?
Yeah, well, let's get the dates from you. When's this expo going to happen, and what are the times?
Yeah.
Well, we're doing Prescott Valley, May 31st through June 1st, in beautiful Prescott Valley, 9 to 4 or 9 to 5 and 9 to 4 on both days. Let's see. What do you need to know? Website is www.arizonasurvivalistshow.com. Go on, check it out. We got some good information on there. We've got some great stuff going on. We got the ultimate bunker coming in. We'll have the ever infamous Hostile Hare will be there demonstrating rabbits.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, we've got a great lineup of speakers. We've got a great lineup of vendors. I can tell you right now that area up there is the energy is flowing, and they are excited about it.
Nice. I'm excited to go up there. This is going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Lance, again, I want to thank you for coming on, telling us about your experience out there. And I want to tell you to keep up the good work. You're doing a wonderful job out there. And I just can't wait to get to the next vendor and see, the next expo and see what's going on.
Heck yeah.
Well,
thanks.
Gentlemen, same to you. I mean, we're all in this together, and, the listeners, the same thing, folks. Get out there and educate somebody. And, I mean, it's dangerous times we live in.
There you go. Oh, that's an excellent ending note right there. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks to both of you.
I love talking to that guy. Lance is just such a good dude.
Yeah.
I love what he does.
He does a good job. And I kind of think this show is going to come across as an advertisement.
Yeah.
I want to make it clear to our listeners again, we're not being compensated for this in any way, shape, or form. We think truly that Lance is a good guy. He's doing good work in the community. Mm-hmm. He has a good product. He deserves to make some money off of the product. So we're going to, say, hey, go out there and visit. EcoPod doesn't even have a booth out there. I think, Nick, you will, and We Grow Ours is going to be handing some business cards out, but you pay handsomely for that.
That's right.
So we're paying him, not vice versa.
Yeah, this is just, I mean, it's something that we believe in. And if you guys have a product that you show us and we like it, we'll talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're making money off of it. In fact, I hope you are making money, and I hope that that money drives further innovation to help others.
Right.
That's the point of capitalism.
Well, and that's the whole point of We Grow Ours, is to teach people and to reach.
Exactly.
We want to reach as many people as we can. We want to teach them how to empower their independence.
We want to empower your independence.
Yes. We're going to be at the March Against Monsanto. Why? Because we believe in it. We have Lance Baker on because we believe in it. We have the guy with the bee pod, Charlie, come on with beepods.com. I didn't know anything about bee pods before we had Charlie. I want to go buy a freaking bee pod now.
Exactly.
These things are amazing. And I've gotten a lot of feedback of users saying, hey, we want to, or users, I'm an IT, listeners that want to go out and get bee pods. You know, they're saying, do you sell them? No, we don't. We might end up putting a coupon code or something on our website, which is something we're looking at doing. So you can go out and get a discount. But we're not being compensated. In fact, if you want to go donate, we're happy to take that money. We've got a donate button right on our website. But you know, this is not a sales thing.
Help pay for our bad habits.
There you go. We like talking.
Yeah.
So
I'm addicted to running my mouth.
Yeah. But no, this is all about that. So I think next week we're going to do a show on livestock integration. Nick and I are going to talk about that. We've been doing a lot of experimenting with it.
Yep, we've got quite a few things. My R&D checkbook is just about out of checks, so I know I've been spending some money.
Ooh, that's a bad thing.
Yeah, well, not really. I mean, we've got a lot of innovation coming out of it because of research and development. I've changed my pans.
Yeah, which the pans rock.
Yeah. I wish that there was an audience here. I almost said, who here has ever smelt pee on zinc?
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you smell hot urine hitting galvanized steel, it's a very bad smell.
Yeah. See, I've got the new cages.
There
I
you
was
go.
like a test bunny on that. So,
Right.
you know, I'm loving it.
Yeah, because you've never had it the bad way.
No, I haven't had it. So it works
go.
out well. I've got my quail cage. I know what's wrong with it. I can provide feedback to Nick on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Aquaponics wise, I've got some new products out there. We're doing a couple of new things where we stagger the grow beds and we're eliminating, actually what we're doing is we're turning the sump tank into a grow bed at this point.
Oh,
so,
is it like a cascade effect? Where it's
yeah, more cascading.
dump into the next one?
Yeah, kind of a more cascading type thing. And we can do steps down.
Nice.
Back around to the fish tank. We can avoid the sump tank. There's some downsides to everything and there's some upsides to everything in aquaponics. So, you know, that kind of stuff is just going a lot of fun. So,
There's downsides and upsides. All it has to do is head pressure.
Yeah, well, all it has to do is grow.
Yeah.
That's the requirement. So we're having good success with that out here. I'm experimenting not cooling the greenhouse this year. I'm going to go as long as I can here in Arizona with just shade, in a greenhouse, you know, shaded, just fans. I'm not doing any artificial cooling, no evap, no mist, that type of stuff. I want to see how hardy these plants are and how hardy we can make them because we've harvested some of the seeds. So we're hardening the plants up. I'm curious if we're at that point yet, that we actually can do this all summer long. The only thing I'm worried about is my fish and the water getting a little warm. So,
well, even the tilapia, they can handle
104.
104.
Yeah.
And I've heard some people they'll lose half of them at like 110 to 150.
A little higher.
115.
Yeah.
At 150.
I'm not willing to lose half of my tilapia. So, you know, we're going to see what happens if I start hitting 108-ish. I'll start cooling as far as the water goes, which I may end up doing but it'll be, I'm going to do it as little as possible this year as far as cooling. I want to see if we can get through a summer without any electricity and just running off of solar. So do I have to run the fan and a mist system? Do I have to run my evap? You know, what can I get away with and still make it survive through the summer without, you know, so I know what kind of solar array to buy for it. So that's kind of one of my, you know, goals this year is to say what's the minimum solar array I can get away with in Arizona in 120 in order to make this thing work, versus running electric and evaps or air conditioners. I've never run an air conditioner. I've run evaps and misters along with 3 fans. That gets a little pricey as far as, you know, electricity goes. If you're running on solar, that's a fairly big unit. So we're trying to work all that out right now. That's where our R&D is.
There you go.
Yeah. So any feedback from the listeners, you guys can go to wegrowers.com/askus. Check out the blog page. We had a good article about Monsanto up there this week. Follow us on Twitter, WeGrowOurs on Twitter, and Facebook.com/WeGrowOurs. Constantly changing the web page, so go check it out. We are working on the shop now where we're hoping to offer some tchotchke, some, t-shirts, things like that, where you guys can go on and come out to March Against Monsanto. Come meet us if you get a chance. Hopefully we'll both be out there. Make a trip up to Prescott Valley, get out of the heat. That's going to be at the end of the month. So thanks for listening. You got anything else, Nick?
That's pretty much it. Thank you all for joining us, and have a good week.